live in 3, 2, 1.
What up, leaguers? Welcome to the Spectacular Spoiler League. I'm the Pandan Superman, the mayor of Hype City, HazyRome, and as always, I'm joined by the Gotham Knight, the Prime Minister of Post-Production, DeepBoyce. And today we're in the Hall of Spoilers for a joyous, happy occasion, man. It's Infinity War trailer day, okay? Avengers Infinity War, Marvel dropped a brand new trailer with tons of new details that were not in the previous trailer. Me and DeepBoyce, we've been itching to talk about it. DeepBoyce, all praise be to Marvel, baby. Oh my goodness.
Coinciding with pre-sale, the first day where you can pre-order those tickets. It's broke on all kinds of records. I mean, that's just par for the course when it comes to Marvel and Disney and these Avengers movies and these superhero movies out here breaking records, blowing minds. I mean, I know it's the trailer, but that kind of made my day today. I saw it like a million times. That was a super dope trailer. I'm excited for this movie.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I mean, Marvel, they did it up, man. I mean, I will say this, man. I don't know who's going to die, and I think we'll talk about that in a future video, but I'll tell you right now, man, they're teasing some deaths, man, and they're not playing games, bro. They're teasing some deaths out here. They very much want you to think that there are certain characters who are going to die, okay? In particular, this trailer, I think the people that they were sort of alluding to being in great peril were Tony Stark, Doctor Strange, Thor, Captain America. And you can tell me if I missed anybody.
The whole Earth, I guess. Or Vision. Well, I mean, we kind of saw that.
DeepBoyce is like us, my mom, my sister, the Hall of Spoilers. My man is out here like, yo, Thanos is coming for everybody, man. I mean, all right. So there's a scene where Tony Stark is, he's sitting on his knees essentially, and his armor's a little ripped up, right? He's got like a huge gaping gash in his armor, and like it's clear that somebody has snatched off half his armor, like his head and like one of his shoulders, right? There's also a shot of Doctor Strange. Ebony Maw is like holding him with some needles pointed at his face or something. I don't know what he's pointing. He's pointing some like sharp tampons on him or something. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, he's doing some sort of Mortal Kombat fatality on him. It doesn't look very, very comfortable.
No, it does not.
I think he's trying to find out his sleep number. And he's starting from the very lowest setting, which is the bed of needles.
I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened, man. He tried to hide the time stone, right, by eating it. And they're pulling it out of his booty right now. And they're telling him, listen, you can make this a lot easier if you just poop or fart. And he's like, no! They threatened him with needles, man. I don't know why needles. Death by 1,000 cuts, I suppose.
I mean, there's a quick shot of Ebony Maw right there telling him, just keep it down. Keep it down and make sure you cough real quick. Hit him with that exam. But
Ebony Maw's face looks like the back of a cockroach, man.
Listen, I gotta... Okay. I don't want to sound like... I don't want to be negative about it. But
okay.
As soon as they show Ebony Maw, the Harry Potter fans have to come out and be like, "Is that Voldemort? Is that Voldemort? Voldemort?" I'm like, "Yo, you guys need to read a different book." Like that, everything is Voldemort.
To keep it a $150, Ebony Maw do got flat nose syndrome, just like Voldemort, man.
Yeah.
He do got that nose that's like this, man.
He does look like Voldemort after a motorcycle accident. I'll give you that. He looks a little jacked up. A little lumpy.
I mean, he do look a little nasty. He look a little, I'm telling you, he looks like the back of a cockroach. Go Google and look up the back of a cockroach. He looks like the back of a cockroach. Like if you look at the lines in his cheeks, I'm telling you, he really do look like the back of a cockroach, man. I keep it a $150. But another person we see get tortured is Thor, right? So Thor is getting his head squeezed. And pause, not get your head out the gutter, not that head, y'all nasty. He's squeezing his bodily head the head at the top of his body, not at the midsection of his body. Thanos don't get down like that.
I mean, his lips are mad chapped too. I don't know if you know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming this is one of, if not the first scene of the movie.
Yes.
Spoilers for Thor Ragnarok. But one of the, I mean, this is Spectacular Spoiler League. You've been warned.
You already know, baby.
At the end of Thor Ragnarok, or one of the post-credit sequences, right? Asgard. Damn. Is that the porn parody? What is that? What are you talking about? Asgard was destroyed.
Ragnarok. How about that? Poor Ragnarok.
Asgard
takes place on Asgard.
Asgard was destroyed, so all of the Asgardians and Thor and Loki and Valkyrie and Heimdall, they're on the ship. Yeah, with some of the people from Sakaar. And then like this even bigger ship stops them, and people are speculating that that's either Thanos and the Black Order or just the Black Order. And then I'm assuming at the beginning of this movie, they wrecked the entire ship. Because there's a scene, I mean, we saw in the previous trailer, but you can kind of see it again in this one, where you get a shot of the Black Order, and you get a shot of basically what I think is that ship with the Asgardians just completely wrecked. Yeah, mad dead bodies on the floor. I'm gonna try and move it so you guys can kind of see some of the dead bodies. They're to the left right there. Yeah, either they're taking a nap or maybe they're dead. I don't know.
they're playing dead. They're like, yo. Just fall asleep in this fire over to the side. We'll be all right, y'all.
Which has me a little worried, because Thor Ragnarok, either brought back or introduced a few characters that I liked. I mean, we're talking about Heimdall. I think it was confirmed that Heimdall is going to be in this movie. I mean, if the trailer's to be believed, Heimdall's going to be in the movie for 3 seconds, along with everyone else, and get killed on that ship. And Valkyrie, I don't want them to kill Valkyrie either. They just introduced her, and I liked her.
I feel like there's hope for Valkyrie, but with Thanos out there, nobody's really safe. I'd like to see her survive personally.
Yeah, and I'm wondering because Thanos obviously is there for the Tesseract, also known. Yeah, it's a cosmic cube, but it has the space stone in it. Yep. And you see Thanos just squishes it like a grape.
He squishes it, and space stone's probably hiding in there, but there's a good chance he annihilated the Asgardians on that ship at the end of Thor Ragnarok, and I guess somewhere early in the movie, let's assume. And Loki's traitorous ass, we know that he stole the Tesseract from Asgard.
Listen, okay, let's not go so far yet and condemn Loki. I know he's been trifling in the past. He's been trying to, turn a new leaf. So we don't entirely know if he gave up the Asgardians. I mean, it's probably a good move to take the Tesseract with him.
I'm not saying he gave up the Asgardians, but my man's seen what happened, and Loki. He's got that mentality of, listen, we don't stand a chance against this dude. I gotta do what must be done. And Loki, you're right. Maybe he's not being a traitor in the traditional sense. Maybe he's like, listen, we give him this, I live another day. That's Loki's mentality.
Or
save myself.
They all live another day. Maybe he's asking for clemency. He's like, hey, here, take this. And leave the ship alone, leave my brother alone. But I don't think it turns out that way, because in that trailer that they showed at D23 or whatever it's called, D23, which people haven't seen yet, but it starts off with Thor. I mean, everybody, the whole ship is destroyed. Everybody's floating in space, and so is Thor. And he smacks into the windshield of Milana, which is the ship, the ship of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. So whatever happens there, Thanos is probably like, nah, I'm good. Just torch this whole thing.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say too. Like the wreckage of the whole Thor ship, it's flown out in space when the Guardians of the Galaxy stumble on Thor, because Thor smacks to the windshield of the Milano, like you said. Rocket Raccoon is like, what the heck is that? Wipe it off. He doesn't want to take Thor in, and that's sort of how Thor and the Guardians meet up. But what DeepBoyce is saying is he thinks Loki is going to tell Thanos, listen, take the Tesseract, leave us during nap time right now. The rest of the Asgardians are sleeping. Don't wake them up. They like to sleep right next to the fire. Yeah. Leave us alone, man. Or they're dead, which is probably 100% likely. But
Yeah.
it's also very possible that I think you might be right about Loki in the sense where he's like, all right, spare me, and maybe he's trying to vouch for Thor, potentially. I don't know. But when Thor's getting his head crushed, like you said, that's most likely on the ship. Also, don't forget, guys, Hulk is supposed to be on that ship as per the end of Thor Ragnarok. So there's a good chance. What I'm thinking here is, and this is, you know, just me just shooting things out of thin air right now. The ship we know was headed to Earth. That's where Thor was headed. So my theory is that Thanos blows the ship sky high, sends people out in different directions in space because Thanos' ship is a beast. Hulk gets sent towards Earth, and he lands in the Sanctum Sanctorum. Based on that last trailer we see him in some sort of crater, and that pays direct homage to the comics, the Infinity Gauntlet comics, in which the Silver Surfer is the emissary of Doom when he comes to warn Doctor Strange and Wong of the peril that is Thanos incoming and him having the gauntlet. So I think Hulk is going to come. What did you say?
No, I said this is true. This is true.
Yeah, I think Hulk is going to come, you know, as a sort of an homage to that. And, you know, there's a scene where Tony Stark is talking. Actually, let's start off with Gamora talking at the beginning of the trailer, right? Mm-hmm. She says, the entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal, to wipe out half the universe. If he gets all the Infinity Stones, right? She goes, he can do it with the snap of his fingers, just like that. So then it switches to Tony saying, tell me his name again. Now, I'll tell you right now, and most of you guys probably surmise this, like Gamora is not talking to Tony in that scene. It's a good chance she's either talking to the rest of the Guardians and or Thor. I think she's talking to the rest of the Guardians and Thor, personally.
I mean, I think she's in the Sanctum Sanctorum.
You think so?
Yeah, I think you can see the reflection of the window, I think. I could be wrong.
I thought she was still on the ship. It looked to me like she was on the Milano. I could be wrong about that. But I thought she was still on the ship. Because where she is, I don't think looks like a house. Mm-hmm. Does it? I mean, I don't know. You tell me. I think she's...
I'm going to double check right now. Live. Indirect.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Let's take a look at the picture, man. I don't know. What do you think? So
I actually don't have a picture of her there.
Yeah. I'll cop one real quick while we talking.
Okay. Well, she is on the Milano when she snaps her finger. And then when she's looking out the window. Mm-hmm. Okay. Actually, no. I was confusing
at the window of the Milano. That's what I thought she was at.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was confusing with the earlier shot where you see I guess one of the drop ships, the Q ships, coming into orbit in New York.
Right. But I think she is on the Milano. I think they wanted that scene to trick you. I think Tony's actually talking to Hulk because if Hulk encountered Thanos on Thor's ship, then he obviously knows who this guy's name is. He's probably heard the name being said, probably heard Loki saying it. So he's probably somewhat aware of the situation. Now, how Thanos dispatched of Hulk, I have no idea.
That was now you bring that up. That's kind of what I was thinking as you were, kind of giving that explanation as to what might happen at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe from Thanos getting the Space Stone, right, the Tesseract, when he fights Hulk, and that directly that leads into the New York invasion right there. Or because maybe he uses the Space Stone and just sends him out into a portal. He's like, get this green thing out of here. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, we're going to go there anyway. So let's just, everybody get ready and let's go. We're doing this immediately.
I can 100% see him knowing who Hulk is. Because remember, Thanos is very much aware of the other Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, he's not out here. He's not coming in a situation like, oh, who are these people here standing in my way? Like, he knows who the Avengers are. So especially since Loki was working for him in the first movie.
Yeah.
So it's possible that he knows who he is and uses a Space Stone, like you said. Hulk runs at him in typical Hulk style, ends up going right through a portal towards Earth and landing in the Sanctum Sanctorum. But I think Tony Stark is actually talking to the Hulk in that scene.
Yeah. No, that's what's going on. You're right. Gamora talking to Thor and explaining to Thor, like, listen, this is what just happened, and you're lucky to be alive. And Tony talking to Banner. I'm just, in my mind, I'm like, it seems like too much of a coincidence because that was Thor Ragnarok, the premise where Thor got sent into some portal, ended up on some planet, and that's how they got out. And now suddenly Hulk ends up on Earth, like right where he's supposed to be. Earth is enormous. Obviously, he lands in the one place where he needs to be, the Sanctum Sanctorum. So, is it by accident or is he sent there somehow? Maybe by Thanos, maybe by someone else. That's kind of like, okay, well, we're not going to survive, but we need to send Banner to warn people on Earth that this is about to happen. Maybe
it's a situation where, you know, maybe he wants him to warn everybody. Because remember, this is something that's said in the trailer. Once again, let's go back to the words of Tony Stark, right? Tony Stark is out here saying to everybody, like, yo, we have what he wants. He goes, we got one advantage, okay? He's coming to us. Yeah. We have what Thanos wants, so that's what we use. What if Thanos wants them to know he's coming so they can literally assemble and all the Infinity Stones are in one place and he can come and reap?
Yeah, maybe Thanos is like, hey, how about you guys just agree to this and we go about this quietly. You guys don't have to fight me. Just go talk to your people. I'll come in, you give me what I need, and I'll be out.
That's a good point. Maybe he's like, yo, tell your friends, you know, I'm coming, and they can either give me what I want or die.
That's true.
Yeah, so maybe that's how he ends up on Earth. Maybe that's how he ends up at the Sanctum Sanctorum. Maybe that's how it goes down, man. That's a really good thought. I didn't think of that, but I'm pretty sure Tony, who definitely is sitting in the Sanctum Sanctorum, I think he's getting that information from Bruce Banner. I think Gamora is talking to Thor, and I think those two parties are sort of updating themselves on what's going on there. But to move on to some sorry, I want to jump back to the other person who we said was in some imminent danger, and that is your boy Captain America. All right. Captain America out here looking like a damn baby compared to Thanos, man. My man was using his hands, and his hand was like the size of Thanos' finger, dude. I was like, yo, Thanos, man, you got to get that thyroid in check, my man.
I saw someone was joking around online and had me cracking up about how that scene is like when you're trying to check a toddler if they have something in the mouth. Like, yo, come over here, let me see something in your mouth, and the baby's like, no.
I was playing fetch with a dog just today, and that's exactly how the dog be looking when you're trying to take the ball out of his mouth. Be my big ass Thanos hand. I'm like, give me that. She's like, my man Cap is over here like, I mean, Thanos is over here like, yo, can I touch your beard? Cap's like, nah! He's like, I'm just all day.
No, he has a fresh dye job. He has to let it dry a little bit. He doesn't want it to smear on the gauntlet. But somebody mentions in the chat, maybe Hulk is sent through the Bifrost. My man, the Bifrost is gone. As all of that is done. Yeah, Asgard, no Bifrost, no nothing.
Nothing, man. First of all, the Bifrost is just all up in Surtur's booty cheeks right now. Surtur, I hope you saw Thor Ragnarok, because if not, you just got spectacularly spoiled. Yo, Surtur owned the Bifrost, Asgard, all of that gone, man. But Thanos over here, like, he don't care about none of the destruction going on. He just wants some nice new teeth, so he's trying to take Captain America's teeth out his mouth. You saw Thanos' smile. Thanos looked like he been chewing on bricks and eating eggs raw. I don't know what he been doing. Been brushing his teeth with coffee beans or something.
He's been having a rough time at it.
Thanos is like, I need them pearly whites. He's like, I need those infinity pearls. I need them.
I think he's actually just trying to brush his hair. Like, brush his fingers through his hair. He saw him from afar on one of those Wakanda mobiles. He's like, damn, that's some luscious ass hair. I just want to, can I run my fingers through your hair? I went across the cosmos.
You know, this picture is just what happens when you got some lint on your face and a friend of yours try to pick it off, and you're like, why are you getting so close to my face? Like, your friend don't warn you, they just go for your face. You got some lint on your face. Thanos like, hey man, you got something in your beard. And Cap is like, no! Don't touch me with your dirty hands.
Well, I'm gonna just switch to the picture real quick so you guys can appreciate Chris Evans, aka Captain America. Just the wind blowing through his hair. This man looking phenomenal. I mean, he's looking great, looking rugged. Probably in one of his last movies as Captain America. So, you know, you got to go out in style.
T'Challa out here looking tight, like, damn.
That's because Cap changed the radio station to some more bullshit. Cap out here listening to some chip tunes.
Black Panther was trying to listen to All the Way Up, man. He's like, yo, I need to get hype before a battle. Cap was like, nah, man. I gotta listen to some AC/DC, man. Cap ain't even listen to AC/DC. Nah. He listened to a barbershop quartet. His old ass. He's over here listening to Gregorian chants over here on the radio. They look like two parents taking the Wakandans on a school field trip, man. Oh man, but anyway, man. Someone in the trailer is saying the end is near. Okay, I have no idea who that is. It doesn't sound like Josh Brolin's Thanos. No, it could be, but it doesn't sound like him.
Nah,
who is it?
We kind of talked about it right before we went on live.
Yeah.
At first, I thought maybe that's Josh Brolin just, getting all dramatic or whatever for the trailer or, there's a scene in the movie. But it really does not sound like him at all. While they do show the Black Order, the children of Thanos, real quick in a scene, the one member you see kind of the most out of that group is Ebony Moss. That's kind of my guess as to who it is. Maybe he's speaking to Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange is kind of the one that is most aware of everything that's going on. At least he's aware of the Infinity Stones. I mean, this is kind of coming about from not just a few post-credit scenes, particularly the one in his own movie, and even the scene they had in Thor Ragnarok, but there's like a Infinity War prelude comic where it's from the point of view of Doctor Strange, and he's speaking, like him and Wong are studying, and they're basically running down through all of the different Infinity Stones, and what they do and how powerful they are. And they come to the conclusion that if someone gets their hands on this is going to be a very bad, it's going to be a very bad state of affairs for Earth and the rest of the universe. He's not aware of. Actually, I think in the last comic he becomes aware of Thanos. He's like, okay, well, is anyone trying to get their hands on this? And that's kind of where they end on it. And again, in Thor Ragnarok, there's a quick scene. There's a quick scene with Doctor Strange, Thor, Loki, Wong, and Doctor Strange is pretty much like, I'm making it my business to defend this realm and to be aware of any threats that could potentially destroy Earth or hurt citizens.
Right.
So, and Ebony Maw being the most intelligent and manipulative member of the Black Order, he's probably going to go with, he's going to go to who he feels is the smartest and most capable member of the Avengers.
That's well said, man.
Yeah.
Freaking well said, man. Like, Ebony Maw is probably the strategist of this group. We know that this guy is the smartest one. You can tell by how big his forehead is. They love doing that in movies with smart guys. They just love doing them big foreheads and foreheads that show a lot.
Give him that whole
my man's
hairline.
My man has the Stevie Wonder hairline. Like, it's run away from his face.
He's got the Kung Fu Master type of hairstyle. It's like all shaved with the ponytail in the back, but that's not whirling. That's just, he's got no choice on that one. But I will say, I don't know what direction they're going to take in the movie. Who knows? But Ebony Maw, not to spoil too much of what happens in the comics, he's kind of a bit conniving, and he tries to take things into his own hands, and he gets owned for that. So maybe we're going to see some of that in the movie as well. I mean, maybe there are other threats to Thanos' mission other than the Avengers. Maybe his own people are conspiring against him.
That's interesting. Maybe there's some, I mean, when you look at the children of Thanos, and when I say the children of Thanos, I'm not just talking about, Ebony Maw, Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, Black Dwarf, who is actually called Cull Obsidian in the comics, I believe. Yeah, I'm also talking about, what do you say?
No, I think they're calling him Cull Obsidian in the movie, and the group Black Dwarf, and like the group was called Cull Obsidian.
Okay.
For a bit.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think you're right. I think you're right. But I'm not just talking about those four. I'm also talking about his other two children, Gamora and Nebula. Now, in the Infinity Gauntlet comic, Nebula sort of has an important role of stopping Thanos. But I think let me know your thoughts on this. I think they might be shifting that role a little bit more to Gamora, because we get a shot of childhood Gamora, her hand looking like a Muppet hand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to rag on this. The CGI was a little bit off for me personally.
Absolutely.
Because it was CGI on CGI. It wasn't quite working in that quick scene right there.
You're absolutely right. Because when I first saw that, I was like, did I just start watching an episode of VeggieTales? Or is this... You remember VeggieTales? I used to be right there. An episode of VeggieTales or Infinity War, because the CG was a little off there, and I will gladly admit that. Now, this movie has to go through, like, still going through post-production, things like that, I would think.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not now. It should probably be ready by now. But there are still some things that I guess could be touched up before the movie inevitably releases. So I hope that does get touched up. But yeah, we see Child Gamora holding his thumb, and her be walking away with Thanos. Incidentally, in the shot, and I think you have a shot of that.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Thanos. Seemingly, he seems to have conquered Gamora's plan. This is probably them showing the minute he sort of took Gamora in as his daughter. And we see him walking away. And if you look at the soldiers that are standing nearby, that are sort of, first of all, they're clearly keeping Gamora's people. Can you remind me what the name of her people are again?
They're called Zen Huberi. I don't know how you pronounce it, but
there we go. He's holding off the blackberries. The soldiers are holding. He's like, Thanos is like, yo, I don't want these broke ass phones up in my universe, this galaxy.
Yeah, with Thanos' hands, he can only use Palm Pilots. That's really what's.
iPad as a phone, man. My man got tablets.
Oh man, gotta use one of the Windows laptops that flip open. That's a cell phone.
Oh man, bro.
I mean, I appreciate that touch that Thanos is an enormous creature.
Yes, a titan in two senses, where he's the titan. He's a titan, meaning he's from the area titan, the moon of Saturn titan, but he's also huge. Yeah. But if you look at the soldiers holding off Gamora's people there, those are actually Chitauri. If you look at the weaponry, if you look at the armor, those are Chitauri soldiers. So this is, if it was any question to anyone, this is clearly a flashback, because we know that Thanos had a Chitauri army. I don't know if he still has it, but he had a Chitauri army where, he's using them for his bidding, and we ultimately see them in the Avengers.
Yeah.
So this is Gamora being taken away by Thanos. We also hear Gamora telling, she starts to trail off. It's very important that she's the one telling us who Thanos is. And I think that she may take that important role, man. But what do you think about that, boys?
Yeah, no, I think that's I'd bet on that being the case. I mean, obviously in the comics, Nebula had a big role.
Yeah.
She's not like a very well-known character, but I guess it worked for the story, and also they had enough time and space to really tell that story. It would seem a little bit out of place to suddenly take the MCU version of Nebula, which is not that bad, but it would seem a little bit like out of left field to do that with the MCU version of Nebula as opposed to Gamora, when they're clearly trying to establish or convey that connection between Gamora and her adopted father.
Yeah, that she's the favorite daughter, and this is going back to Guardians of the Galaxy. Like this is not new.
Yeah, and I think I read somewhere that Thanos, he's not really doing this for Mistress Death or the entity of death as he did in the comics. He's doing it for some other reason entirely, and maybe we could speculate that on some other time. But it seems like he lost something, and he feels that if he does this, he could prevent that from happening again. I'm assuming, because in the comics, he's responsible for pretty much everyone dying on the moon of Titan. He pretty much kills everybody. He kills his mom. He kills everybody because he's Thanos. He's out of his mind. But it seems like in this,
right? Like he was basically like, compared to the regular Titans, he was like an irregular Titan, and they were essentially making fun of him. And he got tired of building sandcastles in the playground by himself.
Yeah, because
like, I'm whooping some ass now.
He comes from a race called the Eternals, and they're basically like gods. You know, it's no different as the new gods from DC. And then there's an offshoot called the Deviants. They're kind of like the ugly redheaded stepchilds of the Eternals. And Thanos he's an Eternal, but he's ugly and mutated, and that's why he's more of a beast than even like some of his peers, and also why he was ostracized and kind of his mom like just was like, what is this? I created this is a bad omen, this child, and I guess she was right, but she didn't do a good job in raising him either, because he didn't turn out too good.
Yeah, he's out here kidnapping children off planets. I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a quick scene there, because when I was looking at it, I'm like, is that a bouquet? What the heck is that? But that's actually like a quick flash of, I guess, Gamora's red hair when she's a child.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be funny if he just grabbed the bouquet of roses by the hand. That'd be That'd be a whole new level of weird for the MCU right there, man. Man, Thanos is like, I just like pretty flowers. I just like pretty flowers. But I think Gamora is gonna play a big role in this. I've seen some theories out there about Gamora and Thanos may not be going. His relationship with Gamora may not be a situation where he's like, come back to me, my daughter. I need you by my side. It may be a situation where in the comics, the Soul Stone literally will take a soul. And there's some theories out there that I've seen that Thanos might be looking to sacrifice someone who he's cared about in some sense, aka Gamora, in order to reveal or obtain the Soul Stone, wherever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because that's like one of the biggest puzzle pieces missing out of this story. If we'll even get anything out of it in this movie, what's going on with the Soul Stone, and that'll be an interesting twist.
Absolutely,
because I mean, in the comics, it's a little bit more obtuse. Soul Stone is like its own little pocket dimension. You can trap souls in it. And I guess they could technically do anything because they've been doing pretty good with a lot of this stuff with the past 18 or so movies.
Yeah, definitely.
But to kind of it'll be some very interesting story elements here. Again, because I kind of like how they're portraying Thanos, where they're making. I mean, yeah, he is a villain, but they're doing a very interesting job of making him an interesting character. And there were rumors that he's the main character of this movie and is more like a heist film. I mean, that's what the Russo brothers described it as.
They literally said he is like the protagonist of this film in a sense.
And that's dope.
Like, this is about his mission.
That is really dope, and that's really exciting to me, because again, in the more recent Marvel movies, they've been doing a pretty good job with the villains. And to have, I've kind of, and I know we had this discussion before that maybe there should be a movie where the villain is the main character. And this might be, that movie.
Yeah, I mean, if I could think of a villain from Marvel, from not Marvel, the characters Marvel currently owns at this point in time, at me speaking right now, but if I can think of one character that could possibly deserve his own movie, it's Doctor Doom. Yeah. Now, I know Fox is working on a Doctor Doom movie. Please, Marvel, Disney. If you need me to go and hold somebody hostage or something to get this deal passed through to stop that movie, call me, because we can't. No, baby. Fox done tried 3 times, 2 times already. It's over 3 times because he was in 3 movies, so it's over. Stop.
No, but I think Jason Todd in the chat has a phenomenal suggestion. He's like,
what do you think?
He's like, but boys, you're already gonna get a movie starring a villain in the Venom movie that's coming out, which we're all excited to see.
The only thing I can do is hit you with that blank stare, brother. Because you're trying to kill the Infinity War hype right now, but I'm not gonna let you do it. All right, get that out of here. But with Thanos, and him sort of being the protagonist of this movie, it sort of echoes what Marvel Comics has been doing, which is giving Thanos his own comics, putting him at the forefront of his own stories, showing him off as that protagonist-like character. I mean, obviously, his deeds are evil, but they show him off as the main character. Now, as for Thanos' motives, we know that he's trying to collect the Infinity Stones. Some people have theorized that orange planet is the Infinity Stone pocket dimension, the Soul Stone pocket dimension, because it's orange just like the Soul Stone. That is definitely Titan. However, the Soul Stone could very well be on that planet. Who knows? Maybe it is on that planet. Maybe whatever, because something destroyed Thanos' home planet. You were talking about that earlier. Somebody eradicated like the people on Thanos' planet. I think that was said in an Entertainment Weekly interview or expose on the movie, and he wants to prevent that. He thinks, or he wants to shape the galaxy in his image, or the way he wants to shape it, because of whatever happened to his people back then. Maybe it's entirely possible the Soul Stone was involved in whatever happened to the people of Titan, or the Titans. Who knows?
And another cool thing, and this is again tying back to Gamora, they make it very clear, they make that connection where Thanos could potentially or will want to kill half of everything that's alive, which is something he did do in the comics, which we've talked about this before. We didn't think they were going to go that far, but I guess they're going full throttle with that idea. It's possible, maybe it's in order. I mean, he keeps mentioning balance. Maybe it's eliminating life for that sacrifice for the Soul Gem, or to prevent this cataclysm or this catastrophe. But I mean, what, in your opinion, what do you think could be that threat, or what is it that destroyed the denizens, the people of Titan? I mean, I kind of have one idea of something they've showed, but who knows?
I have a swerve of an idea, but just to stack on what you were saying in regards to him wiping out half the universe. That's exactly what Gamora said in the trailer. Thanos says, "When I'm done, half of humanity would exist, perfectly balanced as all things should be." You know what I mean? That's what he said, like, as all things should be. Now, the first thought I had, okay, and I know people are gonna be like, no, Fox owns these characters. Fox owns this character. Fox has made deals with Marvel before. That's how Marvel was able to use the Skrulls in Captain Marvel. They worked out the parameters of what Skrulls were available.
I think I know where you're going with this.
What if Marvel secretly, behind the scenes, unbeknownst to us, Marvel worked out a deal to use Galactus?
Interesting.
What if Galactus destroyed this planet Titan? And what if Galactus's nature is a little bit changed, where instead of him just going and destroying planets and just continuing to feed on worlds, what if Thanos intends to satiate Galactus's hunger by offering him half of humanity, or half the human souls available? What if it's something along those lines?
Interesting. I wasn't thinking that at all. If they can make it make sense, why not? I mean, that would be great for Galactus to finally be done right.
I mean, that's completely, that's like my reach for the stars completely random.
Yeah.
Because by doing that, you don't necessarily have to make Galactus the main villain. You could just have him as sort of like
it's like a natural threat
out there.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
He's like a natural disaster type of thing, or he's like a force of nature.
Or you could have him as sort of like, you could literally have him exactly how Thanos was, this villain who's teased, that's out there, and maybe the motivations, like all of Avengers is, you don't realize it till the end, but all of Avengers, that's legitimately Thanos imposing his will on Earth. The whole movie. What if Avengers Infinity War is Galactus imposing his will on Thanos? Maybe he traumatized Thanos as a kid. Maybe after Galactus conquers or consumes a bunch of planets, maybe he stops and he's like, yo, me no hungry no more. I'm going to sleep, but Thanos knows he'll be back. And Thanos is like, listen, I realize this is a force of nature meant to balance the universe. I understand that now. I didn't understand that when I was a kid. I was tight, but I understand that now. And I understand that in order to keep this thing away until I can figure out how to beat it, how to kill it or stop it, or maybe Thanos is down with it, I have to give up all humanity. And I'll rule over the rest of the living beings and keep offering Galactus sacrifices in order to satiate him. And I'll rule to make sure that he's satiated and there's no problem. No problemo. Case closed. That'd be random, but that'd be hot.
That'd be hot in many ways. In more
Crazier
ways
things
than
have
one.
happened.
Crazier
We're sitting
things.
here looking at Spider-Man in
Yeah.
an Iron Spider rendition suit, baby. Nobody thought that would happen. I don't care who you are.
Agreed. I mean
Anything's
that
possible.
that was possibly the craziest news, and it was. I mean, I remember we were talking about it, about Spider-Man making his way, and we're like, it's probably not gonna happen, and it happened. And then we're talking about, oh no, but they're definitely not gonna get the X-Men, and there are rumors. It's on its way. They're trying to get that underway, but I guess to kind of go back to what we were talking about, I guess my suggestion is, kind of fits that same mold, but again, it's something that we've seen in at least 2 Marvel movies, just a little bit of, and that is maybe it's the Celestials. I mean,
That's a good point.
Yeah, we see a quick clip of of Eson the Searcher, which is a Celestial in Guardians of the Galaxy, when they go see the Collector, and he's like, "Oh, well, this is the power of the Power Stone," and he kind of shows like a little TV picture or whatever the heck, and you see this guy just tap his weapon and just obliterates an entire planet.
Yep.
So maybe that's what's going on there. Either way, I mean, might as well be Galactus if they could pull it off, because I mean that's kind of what Galactus does, and I think it brings up an interesting point. Maybe they all team up. Maybe maybe the Avengers convinced Thanos, like, listen, we gotta work together to fight this thing. You've been kind of wrong, because maybe Thanos's motivations, maybe they come from a good place, but he's just kind of lost his mind a bit. Maybe they kind of come together to fight this other threat. Maybe there's a bigger threat that we're not even thinking of, or they haven't even revealed.
Yeah, maybe there's something out there. Maybe there's something that's even got Thanos scared. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that whatever his motivation is, it may not be death, but it may be something that maybe something Thanos is honestly, he thinks he's trying to protect the universe from. Listen, we know that Thanos is going to have some reason, whatever reason he has, it better be good. It better be good. Like, Marvel knows that's the case, that has to be. So, we'll see what that is, man. But
and real quick, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off. It's just
go ahead, man.
Something someone said in the chat. They mentioned Adam Warlock. Will he make an appearance in this or anything in the future? Adam Warlock is a funny character. Real quick, maybe I'll say I don't think we're going to see him in this movie, and I have no idea how he'll play into any of this. It's possible that maybe he's in Avengers 4 and he plays more of a role that the Silver Surfer did in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. Maybe they just save him because he's definitely going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think that was confirmed. Or
James Gunn had said that. I think he maybe tried to walk it back at some point, but he did say that at one point, yes.
But I have a feeling that he's just going to be another character. Maybe he'll be in Avengers 4, and then we'll see him in other movies during Phase 4 after the 4th Avengers movie. I don't think he'll be like, because in the comics he could go toe to toe with Thanos in some regards sometimes.
Yes.
But that would be a little weird for them to for this super powerful character to just come out of nowhere. He's like, I'm just gonna beat Thanos' ass. I wouldn't quite want to see that. But maybe he'll just be part of the roster at some point.
Maybe he'll be part of the roster. Maybe down the line. Maybe he gets introduced as an enemy because in the comics, Adam Warlock, I mean, he's had an identity, he's had an alter ego that sort of a split personality. I don't know what to call it, offshoot from his being.
He's a funky character because he
was served as a villain at some point, basically.
Yeah, he was created as like a perfect being, and then he was like, oh well, for me to wield all this power, I have to split myself from my emotions. And like his good emotion turned into one thing, and his bad emotion turned into the Magus. And then funny stuff happened, but yeah.
Yes, the Magus. Right. So CB2198, he's typing something in the chat from an Entertainment Weekly article, if I'm not mistaken, about Thanos' motivations, which honestly fall in line with what we were saying. I don't think that what we were saying wasn't what Thanos' motivations were. I mean, I'll read what CB2198 posted. Regarding Thanos, it says he's from a planet called Titan that's no longer inhabited because of things that he thought he could help prevent, and he was not allowed to do that. What he feared most happened, and the planet and everybody basically went extinct. He vowed not to let that happen again. He thinks he sees the universe going down the tubes. He thinks he sees life expanding outward unchecked. That will bring ruin. He believes that will bring ruin, he believes, to the universe and to that life.
You know,
I feel like that falls perfectly in line with the theory I had. Because the idea that it's no longer inhabited and went extinct, that doesn't mean that someone didn't exterminate them. You know, if a meteor exterminated the dinosaurs, them going extinct, that still applies. It doesn't talk about how they went extinct. And, you know, likewise, I think him saying that he thinks the universe is going down the tubes. I mean, if Galactus was a force of nature that would just continue to consume unchecked, then the universe would be going down the tubes. Like, I felt like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, I felt like that was sort of introduced in the chat as sort of like saying the theory wasn't correct, but I'm like, you know, it's not. I'm not saying the theory's correct or not. I'm just saying, like, Thanos' motivations that we know of so far seem to imply that something happened, and that something taught him about how he thinks the universe needs to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, like I said, Galactus to me is like my like shoot for the stars theory. I don't think there's a chance of that happening. If it does happen, praise be to Hazy. Now let me stop. But anyway, man. Let's shift over to some of the other character interactions that we got to see in the trailer. There was so much in the trailer, man. Another thing we got to see was Captain America, Black Widow meeting up with Black Panther, shaking his hand, and in the background of that image, we actually get to see Vision and Scarlet Witch. So that does confirm that they are indeed on Wakanda and will likely be present during the final battle. I don't think we've seen any shots of them prior to that point. So we do see Scarlet Witch, Vision in the background. We also see War Machine, aka Rhodey.
This guy's Austin 316 leg braces right there.
He's got some assless chaps on, but he's wearing pants underneath. Those, man, we shouldn't make jokes about that. That's just some assistive tech that he's using to walk after his injury, his paralyzing injury in Avengers, Captain America Civil War. Yeah. And we also see Bruce Banner with his arms folded looking distressed because he's trying not to look at Scarlett Johansson's booty. you know, Bruce Banner's got a crush on Black Widow, man. We know that relationship's probably going to play into this, but we get to see some other confirmed people probably going to be present for the Battle of Wakanda. We also see a shot of Shuri later on holding up an image of Vision and the Mind Gem. Mm-hmm. I would think that Cap, Black Widow have come to Wakanda after their encounter with Proxima Midnight and Clovis Glaive that we saw in that previous trailer, and they're probably going there to fight, or going there as a safe haven of some sorts, and briefing T'Challa on the Infinity Stones and whatnot.
So I'm guessing they have that scuffle. I mean, we saw in the previous trailer where they're trying to extract the stone from Vision's forehead, and I guess maybe they weren't successful, and they were just like, all right, well, we got to take your boy over to Wakanda.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't successful. It's weird because I feel like some scenes we saw of him, it looks like he still has the stone in his head, but we also saw a shot in one of the other trailers where he's walking down a hall and he doesn't seem to have the Mind Gem in his forehead. Yeah. So keep in mind,
Marvel trickery.
Yes, could be Marvel trickery.
Because there was another scene, and I clipped a screenshot of it that I think might also be some Marvel trickery, and that's of Thor. Who knows? Well, I guess we could get into where he may or may not be, but the clip, he has his hand up. There's a lightning bolt, but if you look at the clip, like the short part in the trailer, he's not holding anything in his hand. And it kind of doesn't make sense that he just have his hand up, just calling in some lightning. Usually he would do that if he has something like Mjolnir in his hand, which no longer exists. And, from, a few reports, mainly from these Lego sets that give no Fs about spoilers, Thor alongside Teen Groot and Rocket Raccoon, they're going to the realm of the dwarves. They're like master craftsmen. And I think he uses like a piece of Groot's bark or something for the handle for his new axe. I think it's called Stormbreaker.
Yeah, Stormbreaker.
Yeah. So we see Thor with a new cape, probably some new armor. Because when we were watching the first Thor, the first Thor, What was it that he switched from not using that armor? Because he would call out the hammer, and then it would bring about like all the the armor plating and everything would look kind of hot, but he kind of switched away from using that.
Yeah, he uses that. He used it. The last time I remember him like actively, like slowly seeing him assemble that, I remember. I'm not saying this is the last time it happened. Yeah. Was the Avengers? Mm-hmm. It's possible he did it after that, but he tends to bare his arms. But there are situations where he's been in battle and he covers his arms. So he sort of used that on and off for sure. But that is some detective work on your part, because I just assumed, well, Thor, and this is Marvel to a T. Oh, Thor can use thunder, lightning powers now. He's just putting his hand out using the lightning. But you're right. What if he is holding something in his hand already? What if he's already holding Stormbreaker in his hand? Or what if he has the piece of Groot or whatever it is in his hand, and he's now forming Stormbreaker or something along those lines? But I think there's a good chance he has a weapon in his hand, like you said. That would be interesting. That's very easy to cover that up if they wanted to. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, Thor's one of those characters that they've done that probably more than the rest of them. Covered his eye. Even in the unreleased trailer that we saw, he didn't have the eye patch because that came out before Thor Ragnarok. So who knows? Who knows?
True. They did that. That was interesting in Thor Ragnarok, where the trailers had him without the eye patch. Right. And then in the movie, when you clearly watch it, he has lost his eye at that point. And it was clearly some Marvel magic. Also, that scene where Captain America is, holding back Thanos' hand, and they continue to show Thanos only with the Power Stone and Space Stone. And while it's possible he goes through the movie with those two stones, something in me feels like, I'm just like, does he have more stones than that? Like, for real? Like, are they just trying to hide it? Because I feel like Marvel could very well just be like, we don't want to know. We don't want you to know what stones he has.
I mean, I don't see why he would not have the Aether. I forgot which one the Reality Stone.
Reality Stone, right.
I don't see why he would not have that. I heard, again, don't quote me on this, but someone was talking about how there's a scene or the description or something where they actually meet the Collector and like beating him up. The Collector, I don't think, can be killed. He's one of the elders of the universe, so I think they're just gonna go in there and just strong arm him to get the stone that they're looking for. He's like the Grand Master from Thor Ragnarok. They're like, you can't kill him or whatever. So I don't see why he would not have that, depending on when that happens in the movie. Who knows if we have the Mind Gem at this point? We don't know anything about the Soul Stone and which other one is missing. The Time Gem is the other one that's missing.
Time Gem, right?
But yeah, and that's in the Eye of Agamotto, which we saw in Doctor Strange. And that's one that nobody's really talking about either, because Doctor Strange pretty much has that on him all the time. It is super powerful.
Ridiculously powerful.
Maybe Ebony Maw gets to him when we see that scene and he's torturing him. Maybe that's him getting it from him, or I don't know, doing something.
I told
maybe
you
that's
Doctor Strange swallowed it, and that's the theory I'm going with. Maybe he hit it using his access to alternate dimensions and him using a little bit of trickery.
I don't think the Grandmaster is going to be in this movie, Jason Todd. I don't think he should. It is not going to make any sense. I know Hazy would love to see him in this movie.
No, I didn't think Jeff Goldblum was that funny in Thor Ragnarok. I know the humor of Jeff Goldblum and the whole Grandmaster thing was his deadpanning and his awkwardness, but I just felt like it was, I don't know, it just took me out of it at some point. So no, I don't want to see the Grandmaster anytime soon.
So Hazy only wants to see Jeff Goldblum in the Jurassic Park movie.
Not gonna be watching no Jurassic Park either, man.
Listen, that first one though, the very, very first one.
Yeah, the very first one was good, but that Jurassic World 2 was not looking intriguing to me. I'm sorry. My bad, Star-Lord. Speaking of Star-Lord,
yes,
we get to see Star-Lord interact with Tony Stark. And it is very clear that Star-Lord is the dumbest person in this movie. He'll be the dumbest person fighting Thanos. We about to die out here on this alien planet, my man. We cannot have this, man. Star-Lord, let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good. And Tony's like, wow. Like, Tony got the look on his face like, bruh.
It's like, where did they find this guy? This guy saved the universe? And I'm out here having a panic attacks. What's going on over here?
Tony looking at him like Star-Lord's breath stink or something. He's like, I cannot stand next to this dude. Right? Tony had enough of this fool right here, man. Even Peter Parker, who may or may not be standing there, because the way they cut the scenes is hard to tell. I mean, the incredulous look on everybody's face is just like, eh. Even Drax has that thing, man. Like,
Drax just blinks. Like you can hear him blink. He's like, I'm used to this. Please, Thanos, just end this. Launch that meteor and destroy us and stop this guy from talking. But you mentioned Peter Parker in the baller ass Iron Spidey suit. I think this is the first time, because again, I guess it's kind of coming back to certain parts in the trailer where we see Peter Parker. He's on a bus. He's on the cheese bus.
The cheese bus.
Well, let me see if I can find. I can't find the clip or the picture. But anyway,
continue. Tell me what you're saying, man.
He's on the cheese bus and he immediately gets out. Which I'm wondering is he revealing his identity? I know Peter Parker does this often.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows that he's Spider-Man, but if he's gonna just jump out the bus.
My hope is that everybody ran off the bus in panic or something, and he's just like, I'm going out the window, and he just disappears.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, maybe
it's possible he's on a bridge, something happened, people like,
the thing is,
everybody panic, let's run.
But the bus is moving in this one scene where he's like outside the bus. True. And he's putting on his whack-ass friendly neighborhood Spider-Man mask. So then he gets out the bus. Then you see him swinging under the Queensboro Bridge. I looked it up. That's Roosevelt Island right there for anybody that's not from New York. So that's like between Manhattan and Queens. They're probably going on a nice trip to somewhere in Manhattan. And then off in the distance, you see the Q ship, which Hazy hit me up with the info on what this thing is called. It's called the Q ship.
Yeah.
And it's basically it looks like something out of Arrival, which is a movie that came out last year. Just like weird orbital drop ship. And who knows who's in there, what's happening. But Peter Parker, in the first trailer, in the previous trailer, you see him on this. And it gets like launched up into space. And this is when we also get in this trailer a cool shot of the Extremis armor, where Iron Man is just like some sort of Gundam.
Is that the Extremis armor? I think that's the bleeding edge.
Oh, the bleeding edge.
Armor.
The bleeding edge. My bad. The bleeding edge.
Okay. Because I feel like I've heard people say Extremis. I'm like, they're calling this armor the bleeding edge armor. Fantastic armor. It has like nanotech abilities essentially. It's based on a comic and it's based on a suit in the comics where Tony Stark can warp the suit for his needs and sort of it can become malleable and turn into whatever he needs. Obviously, right there, he turned his feet into some crazy rocket booster. But
and people have been making the connection or the comparison that he looks a lot like Blue Beetle. And look, I'll be honest with you, that scene, that little clip where you see his feet turn into one giant turbine, that's Blue Beetle right there.
That's 100% Blue Beetle right there. That's some Blue Beetle stuff right there.
But it's dope. And, I mean, DC hasn't established Blue Beetle, so, I mean, I guess maybe we'll see that sometime in the future. But here with Iron Man.
This is also in the comic. This is also, like, him being able to form stuff out of his suit is in the comics. Like, the whole idea of combining, like, two limbs to form one thing, that is, you're right, that's completely Blue Beetle.
Yeah. And it's space ready, which is dope. Again, seeing the evolution of Tony Stark's armor, because in the very first movie, he launches up into space, can't do it, but now he's got this brand new suit that's space ready. And again, I'm speculating, and I've seen some people say this, that Peter Parker's way up on that ship, getting launched, God knows where, and Uncle Tony has to come in and save the day or get this kid out of trouble yet again. No idea when he gets the suit. I mean, he has the Iron Spider suit when he's on the Q ship, Spider-Man.
It's possible he brings him the Iron Spider suit.
True.
While that's happening.
Yeah.
And Tony Stark and his high techness, it could be something that he literally has in his hand. He just throws it on his chest, and it just starts expanding into the Iron Spider armor. Because one thing I noticed looking at the armor, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right about this, but the thin nature of the Iron Spider armor and the fact that it is still iron makes me think that it has similar, not the same tech, but similar tech to Tony Stark's bleeding edge armor.
So it's like prototype technology.
Right. Maybe it's some thin metal technology that can expand onto his body. I mean, you see the fact that he has sort of like armor plating on the shoulders.
Yeah.
I don't think this is something that Peter Parker takes up and puts over his head and, you know, it goes on his body. You know, like Tony Stark is very intuitive in terms of his design. It could be something he puts on one part of his body and expands. The way that the armor plating looks on his body, it looks like plating that would sort of load out, if you will. Yeah. Similar to certain parts of the Iron Man armor where, you know, sometimes on the ribbing of his armor or in the arms, particularly the armor that I'm thinking of is the one from Iron Man 2. I believe it was the Mark V, the suitcase armor. Yeah. Sort of had that layered plating design. Dope. And maybe the Iron Spider suit is sort of the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he, again, spoilers for Spider-Man Homecoming. That's when they reveal the suit.
Oh, come on, man. You can't be watching this video and not have caught up with, like, the only movie I'll excuse you for is Black Panther. That's the only one you're getting an excuse for, and we still spoiling that. So, go ahead, man. Nah, we got babies out here, all right? We ain't got babies on DVD. You can watch it anywhere. It's probably on TV right now. We don't got babies, bro. If you ain't watched Spider-Man Homecoming, why is you here, baby? Why is you here in 2018? Get in a time machine, go back, man. Spoilers for Iron Man 1, everybody. Come on, man. It's Infinity War. You gotta be ready. War is coming. You gotta be ready. All right. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. But in Spider-Man Homecoming, they show him the suit. He's offered the suit, and I think he's also offered a position on the Avengers, if I'm not mistaken.
He definitely is.
The new Avengers, which, I mean, who knows when we'll see that. I mean, supposedly there's a shot of that included in these screenshots here. But anyway, Spider-Man is offered the suit in that movie, and he rejects it. So I think that lends credence to your theory that they meet up. Because Tony Stark is in New York with Doctor Strange, Bruce Banner, Wong. So maybe he has it on him. Maybe he calls in, you know, Happy. He's like, yo, get this kid the suit. I need you to jump up on this thing. And who knows what else they're doing in New York. Something's going down in New York.
For sure.
And we haven't seen... I mean, we've seen some of it, but I still feel like we're missing a lot. Like, we get a lot of the Wakanda scene. They're selling the movie with the Wakanda scene. But what's going on in New York? Something's going on. And again, if they end up on that Q ship, and the Q ship takes them to Titan, where they meet up with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they have, you know, that exchange. What's going on there? What happened there?
That would be that would be insane. Like, just the notion of them like traveling on the Q ship. Now, the Q ship is allegedly supposed to contain some sort of weapon or weapons. So why that got sent to New York is interesting. Maybe one thing of note: the Time Stone is in New York with Doctor Strange.
True.
Also, we know that, you know, Vision, Captain America, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and possibly even Falcon with them. They get attacked by Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight. Maybe a Q ship ended up there too, where the Mind Stone is.
True.
Maybe the Q ships are tracking the Mind Stones or something, or going to where not the Mind Stones, the Infinity Stones are. Maybe it's tracking them.
And I think supposedly Scarlet Witch and Vision are in Edinburgh, Scotland. That's where they're, I guess, just away from the world.
Okay. I want to bring up something real quick about Spider-Man and him jumping out the bus. I randomly thought of it just now. You know, you were saying like, oh, is he revealing his identity? Then I had a thought. Clearly, Spider-Man turns around and sees the Q ship in the air. We saw that in the last trailer. That's confirmed. Yeah. You know how kids are when they see something. They like to flock to one area of the bus. So I'm thinking Peter Parker, in all his wisdom, let everyone flock to, let's say, the back of the bus, right? Because Peter Parker's looking behind him at that thing back there. And we already saw students sort of looking as well, seeing what's going on. Everybody flocked to the back of the bus to see what was going on. And I wouldn't be surprised if Flash Thompson was leading the charge on that, because you know him. He's the loudest one, and he's probably the one doing that. What if he led the charge? Their students are gathered at the back of the bus, Tony, and Peter Parker's like, I'm out. I'll see y'all later. Something's happening. Peace. And he pieces out.
True. That makes a lot
Maybe
of
something
sense.
like that. Maybe Peter Parker and characters with secret identities are masters of slipping out when everyone else is focused on one thing or distracted.
And maybe you know, Ned is also on the bus, and Ned is just like, yo, I'm gonna just crowd everybody in the hallway right here in the aisle in the bus, so no one can move and block their vision because I'm Ned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Maybe he's.
Don't listen to me.
Playing...
I was making a very bad fat joke.
Listen, I know you were making a terrible fat joke, but I'm gonna let you rock with it. I'm gonna let you hold that L real quick. I was thinking maybe he is helping to distract. Like, oh my gosh, we need to get a better look at this. Let's go to the back of the bus. Maybe it's not Flash. Maybe it's Ned.
True.
That's entirely possible too. That's entirely possible too, man.
Yeah.
We get to see some interactions with some new Avengers. Also, we'll call them Doctor Strange, Spidey. Technically, neither of them are Avengers, because Spidey sort of turned down Tony Stark, and Doctor Strange has never signed on to be Avengers.
This is true.
So we'll get to see them in action. Final words on this trailer, man. Like, there's not much more I can say without going into the territory of other videos that I think we'll probably do talking about Infinity War, man. But is there anything that you want to say? Do you think anybody's life is in danger? Wink, wink, Cap. Wink, wink, Iron Man. Actually, as you say that, as I say that,
yes.
That image, that promo image of the promotional poster that released of Infinity War.
Yeah.
The newest one. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, with Tony Stark in the Jesus pose.
Yes. That is striking to me because it's clearly alluded to in the movie, and they may be playing this up hard, but it's clearly alluded to in the movie that Tony Stark may be in danger. They do some fancy editing where Thanos says, "I hope they remember you," and it shows us a shot of Tony with his back to someone, or he's facing the screen, half his armor is destroyed, and Thanos leaps at someone, and it's meant to think, oh, that's the killing blow on Tony Stark. Then we get this Infinity War poster in which Tony Stark is sort of he's got his arms spread.
It's a weird pose. It is a weird pose.
Yes. And when you look at him and the rest of the MCU, it's the rest of the MCU characters, it's meant to sort of look like he's making like the sign of the cross, the crucifix. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I wanted to hear your thoughts on that, because the idea here is, hey, this man is gonna sacrifice himself based on that picture. And I don't know if you have the poster, but I can find it real quick and pass it your way.
Yeah.
Maybe you could throw that up.
Please. I don't think I have it on me. But I guess to answer your question, I think he will. I think he will die.
Wow. I think outright yes, definitely.
I think he will die, and I think also Captain America is also gonna die.
Wow. You think we're gonna get a double whammy?
Yes. To kind of add to the despair. I mean, because if Captain America's gone, then second in command in a way is Tony Stark, Iron Man. They're like the original two, or they're like the elder statesmen of the Avengers. But that would be quite the blow if they both bite the bucket. Because I think Tony might. Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Yeah, because I want to talk about this.
Yeah,
it's interesting because it's to the average person who I think isn't really thinking of religious ties and homages like that. It's very clear. I mean, this man has his arms out. We've seen Tony fire his repulsors, outwards. You think, oh, maybe he's firing his repulsors outward. You don't really think anything of it, but it looks very cross-like. But you think that him and Captain America, that's interesting that you said, because a lot of people just often assume that's either one or the other is gonna die. Like Marvel's like, we're not gonna kill both of these guys. We need these guys. These are essential to our squad, to our team. But I mean, Kevin Feige said himself, he's like, yo, you guys better be careful with what you wish for. Kevin Feige out here trolling people. He's like, yo, you better be careful what you wish for. But
I mean, Kevin Feige's sitting pretty. He's comfortable. He's got Phase 4 ready. He's like, yo, all these fools are getting it, because I got a brand new batch of heroes. He can pretty much make anybody work at this point. Now, I do think it's somewhat of a stretch if Cap dies in this movie, but I would not be surprised if Cap dies in Avengers 4.
Now, I can tell people are like, well, we know Chris Evans is already in that movie. Yes, but he could be in that movie for a number of reasons. Time travel, I don't know, flashbacks.
They could get real crazy in the next Avengers movie.
Like hallucinations. This is comic books we're talking about here. You know what I mean? But I don't know who I feel is going to die, but I think we should definitely do a do or die video. You know, somebody who's going to do it up and live or die straight up. Yeah. But they are certainly alluding heavily to Tony Stark dying. And the thing about it is, when they allude that hard, you start thinking to yourself, damn, would they really do it because they're showing their hand so hard? And, you know, Cap dying, to me, you know, is also alluded heavily to. So it's like, will he die in this movie? I don't know. Maybe we'll see someone else die. Maybe we'll see Thor die. You know, it's also important to see that, you know, we near the sign of Robert Downey Jr., you know, in the cross pose and seemingly sacrificing himself. You also see, you know, right under his armpit, Captain America and Thor, right to his left and right. Now, in the Bible, right, when Jesus Christ is crucified, he's also crucified next to two other people.
Wait, hold on.
One on his left.
We're getting deep here.
One on his right.
We're getting deep here.
And you see Captain America right under his one armpit and Thor right under the other. And when you look at this, like what they call the cross at Calvary, which is like, you know, the way the images of the cross are drawn on the Calvary Hill, there's always this idea of two crosses sort of at one level at the bottom and one in the middle representing Jesus Christ's cross, and all three of those people died.
Yeah, and while I don't remember the names, I remember vaguely that one of them, I mean, obviously Tony Stark is not Jesus, but one of them was like, we're with this, I'm going with you.
It was the one on the right.
One on the right. And the other one was like, I'm doubting this a bit, but then he eventually also was like, you know what, you're right about this.
Nah, I think he was defiant to the end, the one on the left.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, he was defiant to the end, but the one on the right, you know, because Thor, you know, let's take him out of this equation, because Thor might just be like strategic positioning, maybe alluding to maybe his potential death, but Cap, he has issues with Tony Stark. Yeah. So maybe this is a situation of them reconciling, just like biblically speaking, you know, the person to the right of Jesus Christ, or in this case, underneath Tony Stark's right armpit. That is his right arm, not our right. That is his right. Maybe this is alluding to some sort of reconciliation between Cap and Tony Stark before the movie ends. I mean, we're getting into some like crazy religious existential symbolism type stuff.
It could be as simple as Downey Jr. is the most expensive actor here, and then the Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Pratt. They're pretty big. They get a lot of money, and then obviously Scarlett Johansson. She does make a lot of money.
Also, it could be a situation of the 4 founding Avengers right in the middle. Yeah. Hawkeye's not here because Hawkeye has been conspicuously missing from promotional material, and you know, it's been said that Hawkeye is supposedly on his own mission during this movie, but those are the 4 founding Avengers right there.
Indeed.
So maybe something along those lines. I don't know. But DeepBoyce, man, any final thoughts, man? We didn't talk about Bruce Banner at all, really.
Yeah, no, I guess I was gonna just bring that up real quick, because he is in the Hulkbuster armor. Again, I mean, a lot of this movie is kind of out there in the wild, and people kind of already know.
Yeah, details for sure.
But Bruce Banner is the one that is commanding the Hulkbuster armor. And you see like a quick scene where he gets overrun by the Outriders. That's what these weird-looking aliens are that are being sent out to attack and swarm Wakanda. And in the previous trailer, we saw him. We saw the Hulk basically march, you know, run with the heroes to fight against the bad guys. And, you know, people. Yeah. One thing that people kept mentioning is like, oh, we're gonna see, you know, the Hulk versus Thanos. Hulk versus Thanos. We probably will. Probably more than once. And it'll be interesting how that's handled. Because again, we got to manage power levels here. We got Captain America out here holding on to Thanos' pinky. You know, we can't have the Hulk getting just murked by Thanos like it's nothing. We gotta do some. We gotta have some parity here in terms of power levels and strength and all that good stuff in a way that makes sense. But you know, I trusted Marvel. And you know, here we see, I guess, the assault on Wakanda. These Outriders, they're just like the DayZ zombies. They're just piling up. They have no regard for their safety. And we were talking about, you know, the Outriders in the comics they're like their own thing. I mean, they're genetically modified, I believe. Yeah. But it could be that these Outriders are a genetic modification of the Chitauri, because the Chitauri are a hive mind. And they operate very much in the same way. And this oddly reminds me of Civil War II, which wasn't all that good in the comics. But there was this whole thing in Civil War II. Was it Civil War? No. It was Evil Empire. Secret Empire. When you had Hydra, Captain America, and basically you had heroes. They were stuck out in space because there was a shield. A big force field that was covering Earth. And the Chitauri, they just kept launching themselves into this force field mindlessly because the evil Captain America had the Chitauri Queen held captive on Earth. Now it's just like a nice little, I guess, connection there. Maybe they're attuned to the Soul Stone or something. They're just going wild to just go attack with no regard for their own safety.
Given the way the Outriders look, they sort of have these extra limbs, and they look their form, their bodies look very interestingly compiled. I mean, there's some genetic modification that's going on with the Chitauri. I will say whatever dropships they're dropping in look completely different than anything the Chitauri traveled in. But you know, I'm not sure. But it would be interesting because they've shown the Chitauri here as Thanos' thralls in the past. Maybe Thanos played around with them, especially after essentially failing him in Avengers. We haven't seen them again. Maybe he was like, hey, we need to work this out. Especially since, you know, the Avengers, after they started getting a little bit afraid of the Avengers, they started running away. Maybe Thanos saw that and he's like, yo, y'all ain't running away. Y'all running directly at the problem when I send you to run at the problem because I'm Thanos. And now you see them, they're out here running into the Wakandan force field with no regard for themselves. Yeah. But I just want to jump back to Bruce Banner real quick. I mean, we mentioned this in a previous video, but Bruce Banner in Thor Ragnarok is struggling with his identity and the Thor identity, the Hulk identity. And he is very much afraid that if he turns into the Hulk, he might stay that way. Now, at the end of Ragnarok, the last we saw of him, he was Hulk, right? I believe the last time we saw him, he was Hulk. Yeah. And we see him in this movie. He's clearly Bruce Banner when he arrives in Wakanda. You know, he landed in Sanctum Sanctorum. He's returned to Earth as Bruce Banner. The reason I think he's fighting in the Hulkbuster armor, as toys have inevitably spoiled for us, is that he basically does not want to have to turn into the Hulk again. Now, you might want to say, why is he fighting? And I think that's because Bruce Banner, in kind with what he was saying in Thor Ragnarok to Thor, he wants to feel useful. You know, he said to Thor, he's like, Bruce Banner can do things. You know, I've got 7, you know, PhDs. What does Hulk have? And, you know, Thor is basically like, well, you're not really that good in a fight. And I think maybe Bruce Banner feeling that, you know, he owes it to not just himself as Bruce Banner, but he also owes it to maybe to the Asgardian people, given what probably happens to them in this movie, to fight. And I think maybe he's like, this is a fight I can't walk away from. So I'm going to fight, and I'm going to put on the Hulkbuster armor, and I'm going to do what I got to do. But I'll tell you right now, those Outriders ripping into him, good chance Hulk pops right out that armor and greets them with a nice friggin' surprise, because there's no way Bruce Banner's in that armor getting murked. There's no way that's happening. Hulk is going to pop out. He's going to whip some ass. Yeah. That's probably when we'll get to see Hulk come out of the Hulkbuster armor, man. But DeepBoyce, man, any final words? I said that like 20 minutes ago, but I'm going to say it again. Any final words, man?
I want to watch this movie right now. I want to watch this movie right now. I want to watch this, Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, Avengers 4. Like, if I could watch them right now, I would marathon them right now. Oh. I want to see how this all concludes and ends. I'm hyped.
Yeah. Jason Todd asked a quick question. I'm gonna answer, and I'll shoot over to you. who's my favorite character in this movie, and I'm gonna just say, based on the trailers, who's my favorite character. That's tough, man. That's tough, but I think I'm gonna go with Spider-Man right now. Spider-Man is the future of the Avengers. It's a pretty safe bet that he's not dying.
No, he's not. I mean, Spider-Man in 2014 made $1.3 billion in merchandise. That's more than Batman, Superman, and the Avengers combined.
No.
So Spider-Man, yes.
Combined?
Combined.
Wow.
Spider-Man outpaces everything when it comes to merchandise. He's ridiculous.
Peter, can I get $1?
He's staying. He's going to be here for years. He's going to be the next Tony Stark type of character. You're going to see him in a whole bunch of movies, this guy. But Spider-Man, I really like this nice slow build that they're doing to the Spider-Man. This is the Spider-Man. Yes. I mean, we've gotten some good Spider-Man. Sam Raimi, you know, and Tobey Maguire, they did a great job. But this new age Spider-Man is pretty dope. And that suit is pretty dope. That
suit is pristine, my man. One thing I will say is, and I see people, I've heard a friend of mine sort of complain to me today about this. He was like, "Oh man, Peter Parker's only wearing Tony suits, man." I'm like, listen, man, we're gonna get to see Peter Parker make his own suits. Case closed. It's gonna happen. It's not gonna be just Tony pumping suits out to him, especially if Tony dies. But I think we're gonna get to see him make his own suits. But
I mean, that suit we saw in Civil War, he didn't make it. Obviously, that was a dope suit. And remember the Civil War suit, the classic suit that they gave him? That was Tony Stark that got it to him.
You mean
the one with the eyes?
The one. Say it again.
The one with the eyes.
The one with the goggles?
Yeah. No. Not from Homecoming, but the one when he was in Civil War in the airport fight scene.
But that's Tony's armor.
No, I'm saying, yeah, that was Tony gave it to him, but that was still, you know, that was a classic. That was an homage to the original look. That was a dope suit. I mean, I'm sure he'll make his own suit. But honestly, now that you mention that, I'm like, we've seen like him do this before. Why not just do something different? In the next Spider-Man Homecoming, he has the black suit. Or maybe he has, I don't know, a different type of suit that he's worn before. Get a little creative. I mean,
I'm down. Like, what I want to see is the black suit.
A Wakandan suit. Format.
Hey, maybe Shuri gets a black vibranium suit. Maybe that's how oh, man. Woo. Maybe, like, I would love to see Spotty rocking a stealth suit that, and I think there are periods in the Ultimate Comics where he has used a stealth suit that was black. I would love to see that.
Yeah,
I would love to see like him, like, this is my day suit, this is my night suit, the stealth suit, looking like the Venom symbiote suit. Because I don't know what Sony's doing with Venom, but there's a good chance we don't get to see that in the MCU. I don't know, but Spider-Man looking fresh, man. Looking extra fresh. Shuri, hook him up. Wakanda Forever. You know how we do.
I guess to answer that question for this movie, who's my favorite character?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the person that got me the most hype, besides Thanos, I think it's Captain America.
Oh.
I think Captain America is probably my favorite MCU character.
You want to touch his beard, I know. I know.
I'm just like...
You don't want to touch my beard, but you want to touch... you want to touch... That's all right. That's all right, man. It's all good. I'll see how it is, man.
I'm just saying, for me, Captain America in MCU, he's that character that I can't have people dissing him. Like you can diss any other MCU character, but I'm like, yo, Captain America, that's my guy right there. That's the dude.
That's my guy right there.
Captain America is that dude in the MCU, and I just, you know, especially during these times, I don't feel very patriotic, but it's like, I'm like, damn. When I see Captain America out there, you know, fighting and beating the odds, I'm just like, that's Mr. Red, White, and Blue right there. That's the Stars and Stripes right there.
I was never really a huge fan of Captain America growing up. I feel like this MCU Captain America has done everything in their power to make Captain America seem cool. And he's actually cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Tony jokes on him, you know, about not being cool. Mm-hmm. But I would argue that Captain America has he's one of the most developed characters in the MCU, the best developed characters in the MCU, and he's also had one of the best arcs in the MCU. Arguably, like his trilogy of movies, I think are better than Iron Man's trilogy of movies.
Agreed.
As much as I love Iron Man 1, it was sort of it sort of was a downward trend from there.
I agree. I agree. And Tony Stark, I mean, I really like him. He's one of my favorite characters outside of this.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, just looking into the MCU, Captain America is definitely that character. And I don't know, it's just, I know people really like their edgy and dark characters, and Thanos looks dope. And you know, when you have some of these more morally ambiguous characters, people really like to gravitate towards those. But I'm a big Spider-Man fan because he's a wholesome, nice dude. He's a goofball, and Captain America's got me because he's altruistic. He's all about, I mean, yeah, Civil War, a little iffy there, but generally Captain America in these movies, he's fighting the good fight for the good reasons, and he's the leader. He's the leader of the Avengers, and even with that said, I do think he should die, but it should be a death that gives me some man tears.
We'll talk about it, man.
We'll talk about it. But we got to see from here on in, once he's gone from these movies, a statue of Captain America in front of Avengers Mansion. He's the bar. He sets the bar for what it is to be a superhero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in my opinion. Or
at least on Avengers facility or something like that, wherever they're hanging at, whether it's Avengers Mansion or the new Avengers facility they got up in upstate New York, whatever.
And real quick, that also reminds me, and people probably didn't experience this outside of New York, but you were there when we went to see Captain America: Civil War. That, you know, you're mentioning Spider-Man and Captain America, the scene in the airport, they're fighting, and then Captain America takes a break, and he's like, "Yo, kid, you're pretty good. Where you from?" And Spider-Man's like, "Oh, I'm from Queens." And then Captain America's like, "Oh, no doubt. I'm from Brooklyn." And people,
Cap was like, "No doubt."
He's like, "No doubt. I'm from Brooklyn."
No doubt, fam.
He's like, "All right, my dude."
I'm from Brooklyn, my G. I'm from Brooklyn, my guy. Word to your moms.
But obviously we're from New York, born and raised, and we were in New York watching them in that scene, that movie rather. And everybody went crazy in the movie theater when that happened, just because, you know, they kind of rep in New York. And now that I think about it, how many of these characters are from New York? Because generally in the comics, a lot of these characters are from New York, but I think less so in the movies.
Yeah. I think in the MCU, Tony Stark may have been born in New York, potentially. I'm not sure, but he definitely was. His movie was definitely started in the West Coast.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really sure how many other characters have like sort of New York origins other than that, to be honest with you. So, damn, we got to save our New York cats out there, man. We can't have this.
We gotta back them up, man. That's why those are both, like you said, Spider-Man. I'm definitely down with that, and Captain America is probably like my favorite MCU character. Those are our New York dudes. They're represented out there for us. Find a good fight.
I think, as much as I love Cap, I think Stark is still my favorite all-time MCU character.
Yeah.
I just feel like RDJ, man, he brings such a presence to these movies, man. Whereas, like, I'm gonna miss him if they honestly take him out of these movies permanently.
But he's already. I think he's got his eulogy ready already.
Yeah. I just love Tony Stark. I love what RDJ, Robert Downey Jr. has done and brought to the role. Let me be clear, when I said Iron Man 1 to Iron Man 3 is a downward trend. By a downward trend, I mean that none of them were better than Iron Man 1, but Iron Man 3 is better than Iron Man 2, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I still think the Captain America trilogy is better. But that being said, everybody, we've been talking about Avengers Infinity War for like an hour and a half. It is time for you to take over this end of the conversation. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of the Avengers Infinity War trailer. Let us know what you thought of our multitude of theories that we presented in this video. We want to have a dialogue with you, an open dialogue with you. So feel free to talk as much as you want in the comment section, and we'll be here to respond to you guys and see what you guys have to say. Listen, we're coming up on like a month and a half at the point of this recording before event, probably less than that, like a month and maybe 2 weeks, a week and a half before Avengers Infinity War comes out. We want to know your thoughts. We want to know your predictions. DeepBoyce and I, we're heading out of the hole of spoilers. Thank you guys for checking this video. Thank you guys for watching this live stream. Also, drop a like on this video. Help us get this video out here. Feel free to drop a subscribe on the subscribe button if you haven't already. we need your support, and an hour and a half of listening is completely justified for you to hit that subscribe button if you've been listening to this thus far. And also, don't forget to share this video with people, and feel free to listen with friends and theorize, man. We like conversations evolving from the conversations we're having. But anyway, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Me and DeepBoyce, we heading out a whole spoilers to go dream about Avengers Infinity War and buy some Spider-Man toys, because Lord knows he needs it, even though he's making $1.4 billion. We'll see you guys on the next one, guys. Peace out.